Come along as we drive the 600-kilometre Oodnadatta track. Rough roads, big skies, and classic outback stops. It's an extensive hour-long episode, so grab a drink, brace your butt, and settle on in. We're coming into the township of Marree, and this is where the Outback Way ends, and if you continue on to the west, that is the Oodnadatta track, and if you go north, that is the start of the Birdsville track. So we're staying next to the hotel, and we've actually got the last site that's left for the day. There's only a few by the looks of it that can fit in here. And this place is a roaring hub every night. So there's so many people coming in and so many people coming out and moving on to the next spot. A lot of people come here and stay a couple of days and we'll do the flights over Lake Eyre. And we're actually camped in, they call it a free camp next to the hotel. Book in with them, because they've only got 8 sites here, so there may not be enough room for everybody, and there's no cost, but they want you to come and eat and drink in their hotel, which ends up costing more than the Caravan park. But anyway, we did that and it's great, and there was no problems here. There's no water or anything. It's just like a free camp with nothing, but they do have toilets here. The meals were really good last night. I went and threw $50 in the pokies and won 177. So I paid for our accommodation, which was our dinner, and a few drinks. So that was a bonus. Here is the hotel where we had our dinner last night and where you check in as well at the bar. And as you can see, they do have a sign here that says please go to the hotel bar before going into the free camp. And they also do the Lake Eyre flights from here. Now I'm going to get the company's name for you, because I think you're best off booking before you come here. My belief is it's very busy, and they do flights right out to Birdsville. The couple that we had dinner with last night, they did it, and it was $1,500 per person, but they went all the way to Birdsville. They did a meal there, and we're flowing back, and they saw all the water coming in from the floods into Lake Eyre and things. And the big red bash, where it's normally dirt like this, was green. They are mowing the grass there. So that's the other view from the hotel, and they must have had around about, we reckon, a couple of hundred people in for a meal last night. So that gives you an idea of the amount of people that are coming through here on a daily basis. Now this is the Outback Roadhouse and a general store. So we've got fuel that's, I think Pete said $2.09. We'll go into the store. As you can see, the general store is really well stocked. You've got a variety of items, anything from milk, bread, frozen foods, through to things that you'll need for your car. There's also a takeaway menu where you could get breakfast to snacks to even an evening meal from there. Now they do have a water filling station here, but I keep hearing conflicting reports on whether it's working or not, so we thought we'd just come and check it out ourselves. It's just this little building behind this sign here. Let's go have a look. Pete can't get anything going on there, so our assumption is that this is not working at the moment, so do not rely on getting water here at all. However, on saying that, it's always worth checking when you're in town. You never know when it is and when it isn't working. There's a bit of history here with the old Ghan that used to go through here. Have a railway heritage trail. And it's the old platform where it used to come into. And just off to the side, they got some tennis courts and some murals on the walls over there. Awesome. The railways back in that day were a big thing coming through a lot of these outback towns. They've got a camel here, and it is made of an array of things: pulleys and jerry cans. Looks like a few motors here and there, and very clever. Very, very clever. And they've got a spot where you can come and cook a barbie on the gas barbecues. Well done. That's great that they supply these sorts of things for travellers. Well, that's pretty much it for the township of Marree. We're on to our next destination along the Oodnadatta track. So, checking on the sign, it looks like we're all right to go at the moment. It's beautiful weather. This is the best it's been for a few days. It's really sunny with a few clouds around. Hopefully, all this rain for us travellers is gone. Unfortunately, for the farmers, they really need the rain out here. Today, we're only actually going a few kilometres on the Oodnadatta track. We're actually going to a place called Moolorina. Oh, it's getting a bit noisy. Moolorina, and it is a hot spring baths and all that sort of stuff. So it is about 2 kilometres on this. We turn right, and then we go for another round about 50 kilometres to get to this station, and we're going to spend the night there. So going out to Moolorina station, and this is what the road condition is like. We travel on this for around about 49, 50 k's before we turn off to go into the station. So it's really nice and smooth at the moment. Hopefully this will continue all the way along. Travelled about 10k on this road, and it has gotten a bit more corrugated in the last few k, and it is also a lot more stonier. They have got some witches' hats out in some of the soft spongy areas to keep you out of that area. So it's just going to be a matter of taking it easy, and I imagine that the Oodnadatta track might be something similar to what we're experiencing right now. We're about halfway there now, and the road's been pretty much the same the whole way along. There have been a few rougher bits and a few smooth bits, but it's been pretty good. Pete's been travelling around about that 70 kilometres most of the way. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the Moolorina station. It's located about 54 kilometres northwest of Marree and 156 kilometres west of William Creek. And it's nestled on the edge of Lake Eyre. It operates a cattle station, and they also run sheep. Now, I believe the place is 4,000 square kilometres, and the From River runs through it as well. And the station itself has accommodation as well. They have units there. So we're just driving into the camping area at the moment, and as you can see, there's a few vans over there already. Got the toilets over here, as to the side. And there's an honesty box. We'll pop some money in there shortly. And we're just going to have a bit of a drive around through here and see where we might be able to plonk ourselves. We've found the hot springs. How warm is it,
It's pretty warm.
Pretty.
40s. Oh, it's a bit like our shower water.
Oh, okay, cool. Very neat. We're both going to go in for a swim. Hey.
Beer for me.
You needed a beer. That's tomorrow. Looks like we will have to do 2 nights here, eh? How's that?
Yeah, it's pretty warm.
Pretty warm?
Pretty warm. Adapting. It's easier to adapt to this than being in cold water.
Well, this is our spot. We got ourselves nicely set up here. We did decide to do the 2 nights here. We jumped into the spring yesterday, and today we've just been catching up on a few things. We've got our campfire happening with our stew bubbling on top. Pete's just looking after that. Stews are great when you're camping because you can get a few days out of them. So here we are. I've been sitting listening to music. I've just got that on pause at the moment. So yeah, this is a great little spot to come to, and it is $10 per night, and there is an honesty box over near the toilets. There are no other facilities here, so we're lucky to have the toilets. We are on the Oodnadatta track, and we are around about 20 k's west of Marree. It's been quite bumpy, more corrugated in places than other places. The stone factor hasn't been too bad. Pete's front tyres on the Silver are 25 psi. His back tyres, he's sitting at 30 psi. And for the Caravan, he's sitting around about 25, 30 for those tyres. Now he is travelling at 70 k's at the moment, but we have been down as low as 40 k's. Just in some of the spots where it gets quite corrugated. Overall, the road condition really isn't too bad. We're 24, 25 kilometres into our trip, and we came across this little bit of a salt lake. That's it up close. You can't smell anything. We are 51 kilometres west of Marree, and this is such an odd place to stick some sculptures, so we're going to go and investigate. Mutonia Sculpture Park off the Oodnadatta track is a surreal desert gallery by artist Robin Cook. Born from an anti-uranium protest, its industrial artworks stand weathered by time, wind and red dust. A highlight is Planehenge, 2 tail-down aircraft echoing a quirky, outback version of Stonehenge. It's also a perfect spot to take a break, stretch your legs and soak in some unexpected creativity in the middle of nowhere. We've just been coming through all the roadworks. It's near the old Ghan bridge, just before you're getting to the lookout area of Lake Eyre. This goes for a few K they're working on here. It'd be nice if the road was like this the rest of the way, but we know that's going to end soon. But we'll enjoy it while we can. Just 91 kilometres from Marree lies Lake Eyre South, Australia's largest salt lake and the continent's lowest natural point at around 15.2 metres below sea level. The lake is predominantly dry and forms a vast, shimmering salt pan. However, during rare flood events, only a few times each century, it dramatically forms into an inland sea. We just went from the old Ghan bridge to the Caravan Museum, and all of that is being graded at the moment, and it was fabulous driving. You only had to drop down to the 40 Ks where they were doing all their roadworks, but overall Pete was doing in those sections somewhere between 80 and 90 Ks, so it was excellent driving on it. Now we're back on I'd say it's not really corrugated, I'd say it was freshly done probably a month or so ago, so it's still great to drive on, you know. So now we're back on to what it was similar like when we started this trip. A little bit corrugated. Pete's doing around about 60 Ks. As you can see, we're bumping around a bit here. But overall, it's been a great drive. We're about 50 kilometres out of William Creek, and that is our target for today, to stay there. And it's been still pretty good driving, really. But there's nothing to say if you decide to do this trip in a couple of months' time that the road conditions are going to be better or worse, you know, like you still got to set yourself up for the worst case scenario. But overall it's been really good. Yes, corrugated, you know, like it's quite bumpy here, and Pete's going just under 60. Sometimes you can get into these side bits here and it's less corrugated. Been quite a bit of traffic on the road, so you know, if you're going on here, you're not actually doing it by yourself. There's so many other people doing it as well, and I've no doubt if anybody ever gets into trouble, people will stop and help. We're about 30 Ks east of William Creek, and probably for the last 5 or so K, it's been really rocky. The corrugations haven't been so bad, but just lots and lots of rocks on the road. I'll see if I can zoom in. So Pete's doing just over 50 Ks at the moment. But it's a matter of taking it really easy on it, because you just can't find a break from it. We're still on the Oodnadatta track, and this is Mesa Lookout. And what we're looking at here, and I know I'm not getting it so great on camera, this was part of the inland sea, or was the inland sea. So this looks like this was the ocean bed floor. It's something that's so stunning. And we are coming into William Creek, where we are going to stay tonight at the campground. Pete's down on the side here because that's pretty horrific what's up there. Yay! A little bit of bitumen. The planes are actually over to our right, but when they go to take off, they come over to this side. They drive across the road over to this side to take off for their scenic flights. To our left is the campground, and they've got cabins and everything like that here. And to our right is the hotel, and that's where you go and book in for your campground. And also, if you need tyre repairs, they do that here as well. Pete's going to top up with fuel, and it is $2.99 a litre. And here we are coming into the campground. We've got the dump point is over here, but currently that is full as. And there are also some public toilets there. There's powered sites here and non-powered sites, and a couple of them will have some water as well, and I'll show you that when you go in. So you can either have a choice of powered or non-powered. So, oops. So you just sneak in between here. Now there's cabins all off to the side here. Now off to the right here are the toilets and showers, and there's plenty of room in the showers, which is great. And there is the non-powered section up in front of us there. And this is all the powered area over here. I'll just walk you through. So to the right here, where the bus is and all of that, that is all just straight powered sites. There's no water or anything like that. But over to the left is power water sites. Now you only come in and you pay for power, that's it. Whether you're lucky enough to get power and water, or if that's what you're chasing, it's a bit of a raffle. It's first in, first served for that section there. And I'll show you where the water drains off, because it's a little bit smelly, to tell you the honest truth. So as we come through here, we did manage to get one of these sites yesterday. And as you can see, it just drains off to the side here. That's it. And it is a little bit smelly, but it's not too bad. But we really needed our water so we could do our washing. There is a laundry here as well. They were $4, 2 washing machines and 1 dryer. This is just to give you a good look of the cabin area. And they're quite good, really. Look at that. We're travelling out to Lake Eyre North. It is all unsealed road to it, which is about 60 kilometres. Someone said it was great to go and visit, so we decided to do it today. We've got our picnic lunch with us. The road has been absolutely terrific. Pete's been able to keep his speed up really well. There's only been a few corrugated areas, which tends to be more around these sweeping bends. The stones on it haven't been a problem at all. And once again, drive to conditions and you've got no issues whatsoever. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Wow. They have some picnic tables down here and also a his and hers toilet. Just make sure you bring some toilet paper with you because it did not have any in it. Parking area here for day visitors, and then obviously your campground area over there. So here we are at Lake Eyre. This is the North Lake and we're at the southern end of North Lake. And as you can see, it's full of water. Now, a lot of this water has come down from Queensland, from all the rain and flooding that they've had up there a couple of months ago, and it's working its way down. So it's getting pretty full. It's flies. They're pissing me off.
We bought our own flies.
Yeah, we bought our own flies. How fabulous does this look, eh? Today we are going to be travelling to Oodnadatta on the second section of the Oodnadatta track. It is around about 200 kilometres and hopefully the roads aren't too bad. We'll find out as we go along. We've been on the road now for about 20 kilometres and the road's been pretty much like this. Very, very little corrugation. And it's been very good. So Pete's sitting at 98 kilometres at the moment. And he said that the Silverado tyres were 25
front, 30 on the rear.
30 on the rear, yeah.
Caravan's 25 down all round, roughly.
25 all round on the Caravan, just in case you couldn't hear it. So this is pretty excellent here. This is the best it's been, actually. Smooth as. So Pete's been, since we left actually, so Pete's speed has been anything between 80 and now, you know, nearly the 130k mark. Just for this last 10k's, it's probably been a little bit more corrugated. Looks like they've done a little bit of work on the road here. But still, people are still doing round about the 80s in speed, so it hasn't slowed us down too much. We're making pretty good time. We've been going for about 2 hours. However, we have had a couple of stops. We've had 3 stops in that time. We're at the Bridge, and we're about 145 k's into the track to Oodnadatta. It's quite spectacular, and I don't know if you can hear all the birds in the distance there, but there's plenty of water in the creek, so I'm just going to go for a wander down and have a look. Here we are, right down at the water's edge here. Plenty of water in here. Look at that. And they're all corellas that are the birds that you can hear in the background. They seem to be all sitting around on the bridge. This is pretty nice. Since the 160k mark, somewhere around about there, we started going to more of the hilly parts of the landscape, and it's been a little bit more corrugated. Some of it's better than others. Peak got down to around about 60 in some sections. We're now at the 170 mark, and it seems to have leveled all out again, and he's able to pick his speeds back up again. So just take it a bit cautious through that hilly bit, because there are some twists and turns there, and they can catch you off guard. That was probably, I'd have to say, probably the worst of what we've come across the whole track. And when coming across other vehicles, it's always a really good idea just to slow down a bit. Save each other their windscreens. Okay, we're at the 175k mark, and man, these corrugations don't look much here, but they're freaking terrible. Pete's under 30k, he's trying to get through this. Off to the side to try and find some this corrugated stuff, but we're not having any success there either. Now it's freed up again. So you do have those portions. It's not often, but when they're bad, they're bad. The camera's moving around, how much it's sort of throwing us around a bit. Looks like it's going to clear up again now and be nice to drive on again. but we're only a few K from the township of Oodnadatta. So all in all, the track honestly was so good. I was expecting it to be way worse, but it was pretty good, except for a couple of rough spots. Overall, it was fabulous. Oodnadatta is a remote outback town and holds the status as one of the most isolated towns in the country. It is known for its iconic pink roadhouse, which has fuel, groceries, bread, meals, and many other supplies. The town also features a quirky caravan park, a small museum, and a classic outback pub where you can enjoy a meal and a couple of drinks. Last night we stayed here at the free camp area. There's absolutely nothing in here except for these tables, chairs and some bins, which is good. And you can have fires here, so we were situated in that spot last night and we had a lovely fire and cooked over it for dinner. Everything's pretty level, so yeah, nothing more here. It is what it is, and it was free. And across the road over in that direction, there are public toilets and there is a dump point. Today we are doing the third part of the Oodnadatta track, and we're heading towards Marla, which is 210 kilometres, and it is all unsealed again. So let's see how we go. Just a quick update, we are about 10 kilometres out of Oodnadatta to the west, and the track so far has been fabulous. Pete's doing around about 90 k's, and like I said, the road is in such good condition at the moment. Let's hope it continues that way. We're now 30. You go.
Copy there, mate. We're travelling towards the road train here in the latest Caravan. Some road.
Pete's just making contact with the road train just to let him know what we're doing. It's the first road train we've come across this whole track.
You too, mate. Thank you.
So we're 30 k's in, and that was the first time we come across a road train. The road so far has been really good. This has slowed us down a little bit in this section here. There's been a few dips in the road as well, small dips, enough to sort of bounce you up and down, but overall it's been great. We're now 50 kilometres into the track, and the road condition has still been really good, as you can see. You can see why sometimes people's tyres get shredded when you find things like this on the road. Could you imagine just running over that point and that going straight through into the side wall of your tyre? Look at that. So this is how we do morning tea on the track. So handy having this all just in the back of the canopy. Toaster, kettle, and my soda stream. Do you want to soda up my soda stream, please? 4 presses, please. we're about the 100k mark out of Oodnadatta, heading west still, and the road condition has changed just a little bit. It's a tad more corrugated, but you know, Pete's still doing like 77 k's on it, so it's not too bad, and it's a lot more stony than what we've been on as well. This has been going on for what, about 5k's?
Yes.
Yeah. We've travelled 120 kilometres now, and for the last 20 k's, it had all that rocky stuff. It did get a little bit worse from the previous video that I did. It still wasn't too bad. You just got to slow ride down and drive to the conditions. The rocks were a lot bigger, so you just sort of had to really be cautious that you weren't going to wreck your tyres on them. But it seems to have levelled out again now, so this is a good once again. Pete's travelling at about 90 k's at the moment, so that just goes to show you before he was travelling, I think around about the 60 k's he said through that section. We're now about 50 k's out of Marla, and the road has been like this for most of the way from that halfway point, with those couple of bits that were worse in between. Now we think we have a car behind us, but we're not sure. And unfortunately, in that situation, Pete's tried to contact them via the UHF radio, but we've been getting no response. Now, if we were to pull over, and I'll get you in the revision mirror here, the side mirror, you can see how much dust is coming up. Now, it's too dangerous for us to actually pull over or pull up onto the road here to the side, because the dust, they won't see that we've actually stopped, and we'll end up with a car in our backside. So we've got to keep continuing on until we can find a spot that's safe enough for us to pull over and let them by. That's if they are behind us. I thought I had sight of them probably about 20 kilometres ago, but I just wasn't sure. So lesson one, if you're going to get on these roads, you really need to have that UHF radio so that we can make contact, because we want to be as safe as everybody else on the road, and we want to keep you safe as well. So like I say, if you're going to do this sort of driving, you really need a UHF radio. We found a spot, and there they go. We've only got about 30k left. The road at this point is a lot better than what it has been. Hopefully it continues to be pretty good. We are coming up to the end of the Oodnadatta track. We've only got about a kilometre to go. Before we hit the highway. The caravan's intact. The car is intact. We've got our original tyres on. The conditions were great for us. Some of it was a little bit hard, but man, it was a great trip. And it's another dirt road bucket list that we're now able to tick off.
In 500 metres, turn right onto Wattle Street.
And here we are. Here's some bitumen. We haven't seen this in a few days.
Turn right onto Wattle Street.
We're going to go and top up our fuel now in Marla and have some lunch and a little bit of a well-earned break.
Keep right.
Now this is something I wanted to show you, and what it is can you see that? Can you see that split? That was from the Oodnadatta track, and the reflectors on both sides got pulverised, and Pete only put them on not long ago. Pete's just doing a little bit of maintenance now that we're off the Oodnadatta track. Just trying to blow off as much dust as he can away from the brakes. He's already done the Caravan, he's just doing the car now. As you can see, there's plenty of dust coming out everywhere. You can see how much is in there to start with. He's a good lad. So Pete's got a double inflator. He's not used it before, but he's going to give it a whirl now. So Pete checks it by turning the switch down, and then he can read what's on the monitor itself, which it's now saying 46.6. So he can just control what he's putting in these tyres just by that, and that's 2 tyres done. Boom. So Pete, you drove the just over 600 kilometres of the Oodnadatta track.
Yep.
Would you do it again?
Yes, most definitely.
And were the road conditions what you expected, or were they worse or better?
They were mostly what I was expected, and possibly a little bit better overall.
And did you find that the tyre pressures that you were running out suited your vehicle? Did you find that would that work for other people with their different vehicles?
Everyone's setup is a bit different, so the tyre pressures and the speed you drive need to be adjusted to your setup.
Now, you did this trip over about 5 days. Would you take longer?
Yes, if you have the option to, I think I would, yes.
And how would you do that? Would you stay in the towns? Would you stay in between the towns? How would you attack it the next time around?
Yeah, I think there was plenty of options, good options to stop along the way on the sides of the road in different places that were definitely worth doing.
So, Pete, what's your best advice if anybody is considering doing this track?
to embrace it. Expect that some of it is going to be a bit rough and a bit corrugated. Overall, was pretty good, and just slow down and enjoy it. That's what it's about.
So what you see before you is the Oodnadatta track, starting at Marree, following the purple line all the way along through to Marla. So I'm going to break this up into 3 sections. So I'm going to do from Marree to William Creek through to Oodnadatta, and then from Oodnadatta to Marla. And this way I can zoom in and show it to you a little bit closer. This part of our journey started at Marree, where we stopped at the free camp next to the hotel for one night. We then continued a couple of kilometres the next day and then made the right turn and made our way down to the Moolorina Homestead Campground. So that was a 51-kilometre drive down to that section. We stopped there for 2 nights, and that's where those hot springs were. We then made our way back to the Oodnadatta track and travelled the 204 kilometres until we got to William Creek. Now I'm going to show you some of those spots that we stopped at that were in the video. So approximately in this area here is where the sculptures were. This part here was the lookout over Lake Eyre South. This one here was the Mesa lookout. And this was the drive down to Lake Eyre North. I'll just tell you a bit about the road conditions on the map here. So the 51 kilometres down to Moolorina station, that was all unsealed road, and it was really, really good to drive on. And obviously we know the Oodnadatta track is all unsealed as well. So this portion here, it really wasn't too bad. From this point here through to Coward Springs, this was all being graded and it was fabulous to drive on. From here, it was a bit like what we came across in this section here, and it was really quite good. We were quite surprised how good it was to drive on. Now, the worst section was the last 20 k's coming into William Creek. That was really, really corrugated, and that's where Pete was trying to get off onto the side there to try and get a little bit of relief from it. Yeah, it was pretty slow going. And also the section that was down to Lake Eyre North, the majority of that was really, really good to drive on as well. It was probably the last 10 k's that was really, really corrugated. After stopping at William Creek for a couple of nights, we then continued along the Oodnadatta track until we got all the way to Oodnadatta. So that was 201 kilometres of unsealed road once again. Now, this was really quite good to drive on. There was no surprises. It wasn't anything different to what we'd faced before that. And just in this section here is where that Alberrie Bridge was. We stopped at Oodnadatta for one night in the free camp and then continued the last 200 kilometres until we got to Marla. Now, the first 100 kilometres, once again, wasn't any different to what we had faced before, but it was when we got to that halfway point, that's when the road became a little bit more corrugated, as well as a lot more stones on the road. So you just need to take it fairly easy through that section there. But overall, it was no problem at all to drive on. Our channel is about delivering useful info. To keep following so you don't miss an episode, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching The Travelling Trooper.